This is Dr. Mercola, and many of you may know that I received my license to practice medicine about 30 years ago. And it's been quite an exciting journey. I remember very clearly the first day I started medical school when one of the lecturers told us that most of what we would learn in the next 4 years would be outdated by the time we graduated, and that the key to being successful in the practice of medicine was to learn how to learn. Well, I took his words to heart, and I used the skills I learned in learning how to learn at school to abandon, eventually, most of all the therapy that I learned in a conventional system. Now, the basics of anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, diagnosis, and how to treat conventional traumas haven't changed. Those are the same. But since I started this newsletter over 14 years ago, I've developed an appreciation of why the shift in treatments from conventional medicine occurred. At the time, I had no idea the massive amount of corruption and pervasive conflict of interest that has crept into the medical system. Now, about 15 years ago, I realized that I could be far more effective at leveraging my ability to help people by using the internet. So I started Mercola.com, and millions have been reached, rather than the small number of people that I could help individually in my office. So I want to focus my time, effort, and attention, and energy and resources on a few areas that I perceived as serious threats to the very existence of the human race, in areas that I believe these efforts could help catalyze a profound change. As you know, we face many health challenges. More than 1 in 3 Americans are obese or have diabetes or are on their way to Alzheimer's. And more than 2/3 of people are overweight. And in some U.S. states, that's over 70% who are over their ideal body weight. And just recently it was announced that more people die from properly prescribed drugs than do from motor vehicle accidents. And this amounts to over 125,000 people who die from properly prescribed prescription drugs in the United States every year alone, which amounts to about 350 people a day. So how can we overcome this crisis? You know, I've been warned on many occasions that I should not voice my concerns over these issues, as these federal agencies and multinational corporations will do anything to protect their financial interests. So why would I put myself and my future in jeopardy? Because if we don't do something soon, it's simply going to be too late. And what I mean by this is that once power is given, it is very hard to take away. So I firmly believe that absolute power corrupts absolutely. So how does this translate to the U.S. federal health agencies? Well, the FDA regulates 25% of the entire U.S. gross national product. And we, the people, have given them the power to dictate and enforce the commands of the drug companies. It's time now to take that power back. First, let me tell you that I believe this is not a conspiracy. You see, our federal health agencies are playing corporate favoritism with these large multinational corporations in the drug and food industry, while working with their associations to ensure there is a protection of the system without competition. This is a pay-to-play system, and if you challenge the system, you will be punished. Now, in fact, a former FDA chief counsel, Peter Barton, is even noted to have said that if you beat the FDA in court, you have an angry FDA that is willing to slit your throat. Or how about Merck, the giant vaccine and pharmaceutical manufacturer? They are the company that made Vioxx, that you might remember, that they voluntarily pulled after the market after it had killed 60,000 people or more. Now, in the litigation following all of these tragic deaths, company memorandums were found stating how they would attack doctors that provided warnings about Vioxx. And this is a direct quote. "We may have to seek them out and destroy them where they live." Shocking, isn't it? Now, before I tell you about the details of this health liberty, I want to let you know that I am very committed to this project, and I will be donating more than $1 million over the next year to catalyze these projects into action. So what are these projects? Well, the first initiative is mercury use in dentistry. I want to eliminate the deception regarding silver fillings. Everyone receiving them should be notified that they are 50% mercury. You see, the ADA and the FDA have been continuing this big lie for decades. And you may not know that the ADA originally profited from the use of mercury fillings because they have patents on them. And in fact, they issued a gag order to dentists to not disclose that these fillings were mercury, at the risk of losing their license if they told the patients. And now they are trying to hide liability for their actions, as we know that the same mercury that cannot be disposed of safely in a landfill should also not be put in your mouth. So we're partnering with the Consumers for Dental Choice to make sure we achieve victory in this area. Now, the second initiative is to eliminate the toxic poison fluoride that is being added to most U.S. water supplies. I'm partnering with the Fluoride Action Network and a few other organizations that will work city by city to remove the harmful fluoride from our water supply, because many don't realize that fluoride is a prescription drug and is being added to your water supply without your consent. And recent studies have shown that in the United States, over 41% of adolescents already have dental fluorosis, now, which is a sign of fluoride toxicity. Now, although this is a cosmetic issue, there's also studies that support evidence of associated brain and bone damage when you have this fluorosis. So it's a real problem. Now, thirdly, I want freedom to receive or not receive vaccine along with true informed consent. Vaccines are a controversial topic, but I believe that all Americans deserve the right to informed consent when it comes to any medical procedure, including vaccinations. There are mandates and proposals that are on the table to bypass parental consent that will inject kids directly. And essentially, there are regulations that require almost forced vaccinations because children will not be able to get into school without them. So what they are saying is that your body is under government control. So we are working with the undisputed leader in this field, Barbara Loe Fisher, who for the last 3 decades has pioneered efforts in this area with her National Vaccine Information Center. Now lastly, I want to have all genetically modified foods in the United States labeled just like they do in the European Union. I believe that there is more than enough evidence to suggest that this could be a very serious, if not the most serious risk to the very existence of the human species. And I firmly believe that we have not done a fraction of the necessary studies we need to examine this issue properly for safety. So it makes sense that we exercise the precautionary principle. Now, genetically engineered plants and animals are unique enough to be patented, but the FDA says that they are similar enough where they don't need to be labeled like they do in the European Union. So it's easy for Monsanto to do this because they are able to place people into federal regulatory agencies and in government positions just like the governments do. I mean, just like the drug companies would do. So we're partnering with the Organic Consumers Association and the Institute for Responsible Technology to implement this strategy. Now, I believe you cannot allow your life to be overtaken by federal health agencies like Big Pharma or Big Agriculture. You cannot stand by without objection. The existing healthcare system is drastically broken and is only becoming progressively worse. I don't know many people who like politics, and I loathe it as much as anyone else, but I need all of you to think very deeply and to determine what risk you'd like to take. You know, life is all about taking risk, isn't it? People bungee jump, they ride motorcycles without helmets, they go skydiving, they do all sorts of things that are dangerous and have no obvious health benefits. But that's their choice, that's their freedom, that's their liberty. So I've been a staunch dissenter to the conventional medical model for a long time now, and it's the one that's ruled by the medical industrial complex. And I firmly believe that left to their own devices, the corruption between the pharmaceutical companies, agriculture industry, the FDA, and these regulatory governmental agencies will continue to destroy the American health and the health of the world. And perhaps Thomas Jefferson said it best when he said that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. So day by day, as we remain complacent, Americans continue to lose their freedom as the government grows more powerful and money hungry and disguises its takeover in the essence of a matter of public security. Your health care, your food supply, everything you need to live a healthy life is now being taken away and controlled by a massive industrial complex and corrupt government. If you choose to spend your hard-earned dollars on high-quality foods, an exercise program, improved living conditions, you should have the right to do so. And while I believe this would be a better form of health insurance to protect against chronic diseases than any government could possibly come up with. Now, I'm optimistic that significant changes will be made before it's too late. But if you are an American, it's looking like you will lose the right to make your own health and nutrition choices. I believe you should not let this happen without a fight. So my team and I have a significant plan in the upcoming year to help empower more individuals so you and others can continue to take control of your health. We have the basic universal right not to be deliberately harmed by our own government, which is now ignoring basic universal human rights. So please become active and support our nonprofit sites and spread the word to share information about this initiative. In closing, I thought I would leave you with a few quotes that are relevant to this issue from some real pioneers in American liberty. Abraham Lincoln said, "America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves." Now, another famous president, Thomas Jefferson, said, "A government big enough to give you everything you want is also strong enough to take everything you have." And he also said that I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them. And Benjamin Franklin said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." And finally, the first president of the United States, George Washington, said, "Truth will ultimately prevail where there is pains to bring it to light." So I hope you'll become a health patriot and join me in this Health Liberty campaign. You and I can make a difference if we join together. Don't let anyone take away your freedom to take control of your health.